All right, I'm really looking forward to our final keynote of today by Duke Spear, and I look forward to seeing you all in the morning. Thank you so much.
This is a fun event. This is the first time Ignite's been done in this for the Joomla group, and so we're having a little bit of fun with it. This is a fun competition. We've got 12 speakers. They each get 5 minutes. They have 20 slides that are going to change automatically every 15 seconds, whether they want them to or not. So it's a little bit of a challenge. For all the people who wanted to participate in Ignite, they had to submit a short 1-minute video explaining their concept so that the committee could have a good idea of what they thought they would want to present. I'm able to actually share with you how not to do an Ignite.
Shh. Joomla developers, got a secret for you. jQuery's already installed in Joomla 3. Knock it off!
So thank you to Ed Hathaway right here. Stand up, Ed. That is a losing presentation. And now we're going to move on to the winners. First one up, Mr. Savvy Panda himself, Gabe Wahhab is here, and he's ready to light a fire in this community. He heard about Ignite while he was down at J-Day Houston and is ready to tell us how to improve our lifestyle a little bit, we hope. Well, take it away, Gabe.
Thank you. So, all of us in the Joomla community, we're really hard workers. We put our blood, our sweat, our tears into our businesses, organizations, and open source software. We have a purpose, and we're driven. So we work hard because we have personal goals and dreams. We want to better our lives, and we want to better the world. So we work really hard, 60 to 80 hours a week. We're available whenever and wherever. In the process, though, we become so focused on this purpose that we begin to neglect the other parts of our lives. And this leads to stress, poor health, and strained relationships. So society has trained us to rationalize this destructive behavior. They say, work your tail off, and then retire at 60, and then when you're 60, you can have a really good life. The problem with this is, if you wait till 60, you're not going to be left with a significant other, no friends, and no interests. And this type of thinking is a trap that we really need to escape. With everything on our plates, it can be hard to think about self-improvement or thinking of ourselves in the future. But we can't keep going at 100 miles per hour if our tank is on empty. So there's some interesting studies on brain scans, and they've showed that fatigued brains look exactly the same as a brain that's sound asleep. That's crazy. There's another study coming out of London that shows an inattentive mind is actually less productive than a pot smoker. So Cheech down at the glassware shop, he's more productive than you are. So, is this what you want when you're making a critical decision? You know, decisions that are really going to make or break your business? You know, absolutely not. And so, minds that are focused, organized, and energized get more done in less time. Those who have a work-life balance have 20% more productivity and work 21% harder. Now, in order to achieve this balance, we have 5 parts. Our work, which is our passion and supports us. Our relationships with our family and friends. We have to treat our bodies well, fueling it with food, good food, exercise, and sleep. We have spiritual needs and beliefs. And we have our personal hobbies. And we can't just have 2 or 3 of these. We need to have all 5 of them. And so you need to look at where you're neglecting yourself and bring these other areas up to speed. So we all strive for this balance, but is it a reality? Or is it just a utopic dream? Can you really achieve a work-life balance? And the answer is yes. And what's great is you don't need to make major changes to your life to achieve this balance. It's the little things that make a big difference. Yes, the little things make all the difference in the world. So spend an extra 30 minutes with your family. Go to lunch with a friend. Stop drinking soda. Add 15-minute jog to your daily routine. Get an extra 30 minutes of sleep. Go to church and do one fun thing a day. Step away and reflect on the little changes that you need to make in your life, because you can't keep slowly torturing yourself, your relationships, and your emotional needs. And for you employers out there, what are you doing to improve the quality of life for your employees? And no, I'm not talking about gourmet meals, daycare, foosball tables, video game machines. Those are all things meant to keep people at work longer. Society has this system that says we need to work 40 hours a week. And business owners, even the best intentioned ones, they want to get the most out of you. And I don't blame them. But as employers, what are you doing to remove the boundaries that society has set and give your employees control of their lives again so they can live quality and happy lives? When you look back 20 to 30 years from now, do you want to see a wasted, empty life? Or do you want to look back and see a long, healthy life full of family, friends, and love? You can be successful and balanced. It's the little things. Thank you.
Next up, I'm happy to present Peter Bowie. Peter comes to us from Sydney, Australia. Peter is the voice of Joomla Beat. He is a web designer. He's keeping the founder of the Joomla user group and is here to light our fire here about the community. So take it away, Peter.
Thank you, Duke. So I'm here to talk about diving into the community with some sort of obsession, whether it's an obsession with Joomla, an obsession with cats and dogs, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to talk about my experience of getting into the Joomla community and finding these obsessions. So I built my very first website in 2006. It's still around. I still have that client too, which is absolutely awesome. But I built this website from the bedroom of my parents' place, late at night, slaving away, no idea that a Joomla community existed in the world. Until I went to Sydney. I was originally from Adelaide. Until I went to Sydney and met the whole community there. They were running Joomla days at big conferences, and I was suddenly awakened to this vibrant community that I had absolutely no idea about. So I went back to my little hometown in Adelaide and thought, hey, I can do this. I can start a user group in Adelaide and do something amazing with it. So I got together and worked out what other people were doing in the world, and I started the Joomla user group in Adelaide. Now, I've since left there and handed it over to other people to take over, and they're doing an absolutely fantastic job connecting with new businesses, new people in Adelaide. It's a very small town, though, and that's what I moved away from. I wanted to be in a bigger community. I wanted to be in a bigger network of people where I could meet and network and get really crazy and obsessed with Joomla. So I moved to Sydney, where the population is, 5 times bigger than Adelaide, and I started doing a lot of things there in the community. But that still wasn't enough for me. So I started writing for the Joomla Content magazine, and if you don't, I highly recommend that you do. It's the easiest way, I think, to contribute to the Joomla community. But that wasn't enough. I got thrown into the world of digital radio and podcasting late last year with a friend named Tony Constantino, who's known as the WordPress guy. And he set up this whole radio studio. That's a couple of photos of him. And we set up this whole radio studio interviewing local entrepreneurs in Adelaide and Sydney and all around Australia, doing some really cool stuff. And I got a little obsessed with this. So I thought, hang on, let's merge these two obsessions. Let's merge this new obsession with digital radio and talking to all these weird and crazy people and merge it with my obsession with Joomla. So I made a New Year's resolution. I made a New Year's resolution to start my own podcast. So I started going out buying all these really expensive toys. It doesn't look that impressive, but they are way too expensive, this audio industry. But I started doing interviews at Joomla Day Melbourne earlier this year. I started meeting some really cool and interesting people, like you can see there. And I was having so much fun. And I thought, okay, I could really do this. I can continue this. I can continue and connect with more people around the world. So I did. I connected with more and more people. I'm up to episode 41 now of the podcast, doing so much stuff with it, meeting new people that I would have never, ever met before. And I finally made it over to an overseas conference where I'm meeting even more people, which is absolutely amazing. This map shows the people that I've connected with, or with the countries of where the people that I've connected with from. And it's growing all the time. It's really cool. And when I put it down on the map, I thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. This is mind-boggling. So at this point, I actually worked out that my obsession isn't just with Joomla and isn't just with podcasting and radio. It's building the relationships with people, meeting people out there, just like David Hurley is, and connecting people in the community. So let's find your obsessions, whatever that might be, whether it's collecting Star Wars figurines or, like I said, playing with cats and dogs. I don't know what it could be. Just have a think and try and combine that obsession with Joomla. I reckon it could create some really awesome interactions, really awesome ways, really out of the box, is that the right word? I don't know. Really creative ways to create awesomeness within the Joomla community. Because we all know that Joomla needs obsessed people. Joomla is built on community itself. You can say obsessed, passionate, whatever you want, but Joomla needs these obsessed people in the community because Joomla is built on it. Without the community, Joomla is nothing. Without the open source platform and the people contributing to it, it wouldn't be there, unlike some of the other open source content management systems out there. So thank you, everyone. I encourage you to go away, work out what your obsession is, and merge it with Joomla, because we all know that Joomla needs more obsessed people. Thank you.
All right, Peter. Well done.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, next up we have Joseph Campbell. Joseph comes from New Jersey, and he's going to be enlightening a fire in a totally different direction. We have kind of three focuses tonight in all of our talks. Some are community-oriented, some are being on a Joomla soapbox, and then there's Joseph. Go to it, Joseph.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for allowing me the time to speak to you guys about something that's very important and very passionate to me. For the past 3 years, I've been on a journey. And that journey could be summed up with one word: failure. Now, failure is inevitable. If you guys don't mind, just raise your hands if you failed at something. Yeah, that's what I thought. Just about everyone. Failure comes in all shapes and sizes. Failure is when you forgot to update the template that you've already PDF'd and sent to the client. That's failure. Failure is that date that you were on when you leaned in for the kiss and the girl acted like she was tying her shoes. That's failure. Worst of all, she didn't even have laces. But my journey did not start with failure. It started with an idea that was just busting out of my head, searing out, that took over my heart, my body, and kept me up at night. And because this idea was so just awe-inspiring, I thought it was great. And I wanted to honor this great idea by working in excellence. So that's what I did. I studied and consumed everything. I wanted the best of everything. The best UX, the best UI, the best SEO, ROI, every acronym you could think of. I wanted the best. But you know where that got me? It put me in the state that I refer to as big beta. I was spinning my wheels over concepts, content, and technology. And 3 years later, I'm here, and I have no product to show for it. So, this is my journey. This is my hero's journey at that. There has to be redemption. There has to be a way that which I can win, and I have. I've got from under the burden of big beta with the help of these three letters: MVP. And MVP stands for minimum viable product. And what minimum viable product is a challenge. It's a challenge that says, figure out and deliver the smallest set of quality and value that your target audience wants and is willing to consume. do it. Just do it. Give it to them. But, like I said earlier, failure is inevitable. So MVP also teaches us that we're going to learn from our failure. And then third, MVP says we're going to manage that failure by working small. So, 3 years later, no product. Within 3 months after adopting MVP, I am now on the road to completing my website January 1st. Matter of fact, I'm going to complete my website January 1st, 2014. But the reality is this is not about my journey. This is about your journey and your road to greatness. So my question to you is, are you going to leap or take small steps to greatness? I challenge you, even better, I urge you to be focused, to fail, and to fix. Focus, fail, and fix. Thank you for your time.
Well done. Elvis is in the house. El Vecchio comes from Brazil. He is here to enlighten us and entertain us. He is the man who you've organized actually a whole crew of people down there in Joomla Day Brazil and so forth, and a lot of activities.
Joomla Day Rio is happening. Yes, the very first is happening next week.
Excellent.
Yes,
so you're taking notes here so that you can do this right?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. All right. So take it away, El Vecchio.
Thank you very much. Well, in 2003, I realized that I wouldn't go very far if I just kept on using static HTML websites for my work every day. So I realized that I needed something more. Then one day, one friend introduced to me Mambo CMS. I was very excited because then I realized I could provide way much more than I could until then, because I'm not a developer, not a programmer, I'm just a graphic designer. But unfortunately, something happened. I got fired from the job that I had at the time, and I really got lost because it was not a very good time in my life in several different levels. And what happened is that I started through freelance, but unfortunately, as everything was not very good, it didn't turn out as I expected. So little work, little money, not very happy at that time. I decided I should go and find a new job, and then I had an opportunity at the Rio de Janeiro State University. And it was very good, but unfortunately, it drove me away from the internet. There, I was just an illustrator and a graphic designer. And even though I was still in touch with Mambo, I realized that I should go further. And then Joomla was released in 2005. And then I was wondering, should I make a switch or not? I was really lost at that time. And then finally, I turned 40. And turning 40, not being okay, big crisis. I had no horizon in sight. Everything was a mess. So I knew I had to do something. So I started to search for some answers. And I had a very good strike of luck at that moment because I had an opportunity to join a business incubation institution. And they helped me find out what a career is about. Then I realized that I should plan out my career. And I started doing so, just taking notes, writing down, and stuff like that. And the very first thing I realized I should do is I should change my attitude. I was very gloomy and down and sad and whining. And so I said, hey, this is not me. I was not always like that. I was very happy. And then I started looking at the brighter side of life again. One thing that was happening at that time is that I already knew Joomla, and I realized that Joomla was the thing that would help me the most. So I focused all my work on Joomla, and then I decided that I had to get in contact with the Joomla community, a local Joomla community. And it was very good because then I started having new work, more money, of course. And on the very next year in Rio de Janeiro, there was the Joomla Day Brazil. It was such a great experience because it was the very Joomla day that I was attending to, and I met a lot of people, and a lot of things changed. And then on this very same year, I had the opportunity to come to New York and take a Joomla course and attend Joomla Day in New York also, which helped me when I came back to Brazil to improve my skills while teaching and make Joomla, which was something that impressed a lot of people back home. In the next, later, in 2010, I attended my second Joomla Day in New York, and I had the opportunity to make my very first presentation, which was awesome because I was doing it in another country, in another language, and it was something that excited very much. And then I learned that if I wanted to go on and sell Joomla to other people, I also had to learn about the competition. And of course, we had to learn about other CMSs. And so at this point, I realized that I was ready to take a step further. And so, yes, I opened my business. And I got some more clients. Things are getting better, and I can go to other places. And of course, in 2012, I came to Joomla World Conference, which was a great thing. I really joined the community. Now I'm a contributor as an illustrator for the Joomla magazine. And I realized that's the place that I should be and that I want to be. Thank you very much. My name is Sylvester. I am from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm a graphic and web designer, and I love Joomla. Thank you.
Right, well done. Next up, we're getting into more of the soapbox aspect of things. It's time to shake up and change the Joomla community, and Tessa's going to be coming out here to join me so that she can tell you a little bit about her situation. She's from Seattle. She has two different jobs. This talk relates to one of them. The other one is that she's in the snow sports industry and was criticizing me for not being on K2 skis. And so I have to live that one down a little bit. But as ski patrollers, we get a special deal, if you know what I mean. So with that, Tessa Mero.
Thank you. I am a teacher, and I have a dream. I have a dream that every web development program in every educational institution will teach their students about powerful open source content management systems, that every student will graduate with the knowledge of a CMS. My name is Tessa Mero, and I'm currently teaching web development at a community college. Recently, I created a curriculum focused on content management systems, relying heavily on Joomla, which will be launching at my college next winter. I did this because I've noticed one key thing about web development degrees. There aren't enough of them introducing them to the dominant open source CMSs. As a community, we need to change this together. So, I wanted to share with you my idea to bring open source CMS curriculum into colleges, universities, and educational institutions around the world, and in the process, change the future of students graduating with the dream of a career in web development. There are currently over 10,000 available jobs in the national market right now that requires a knowledge of Joomla, Drupal, or WordPress. Almost 90% of tech jobs require knowing software that is open source. IT jobs nationally rose to 4.4 million jobs and are up about 4.5% in the last year. According to an Elance global survey, web programming ranked #1 for the highest growth jobs of 2013. According to several recent studies and articles, the top 10 must-have skills for a career in web development include the knowledge of at least one open source content management system. With the recent bad economy, enrollment numbers at community colleges across the nation are at all-time highs. This means the rate of students going into the web development field has increased substantially. The average student graduating with a web degree from a college has about a 40 to 50% chance of working on one of the most popular open source content management systems at least once during their career lifetime. So, After looking at many different web development curriculums, I put up an example of a web programming certificate. We need to get involved in advisory boards and tell colleges that graduates need to know an open source CMS. This isn't simply a shortfall in available courses or even a justifiable lag in teaching cutting-edge technology. This is passing off Stone Age curriculum and giving students a false expectation of success. This is unacceptable. This reminds me of a quote by the famous child's right advocate, Marian Wright Edelman, who said, "Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it." My primary goal is to make a difference in education, to provide the change and process necessary to improve the lives of students and community that I am entrusted with as an educator. So, these are my wonderful children that motivate and inspire me in life. We can change education for future college students that want to get into the web development field. What if we were responsible for this change? So, am I crazy to think that this is a possibility? That we can create such a big change for our future in education? This is definitely not an option. This needs to change. This brings me back to the word passion. Passion is a term applied to a very strong feeling about a person or thing. Passion is an intense emotion, a compelling enthusiasm. Passion drives progress. What if we can create a team that brings this passion to education? A team of individuals bringing their unique skill sets to drive the kind of progress and change that the world offers that would offer generations of kids an education not seen before. What if we can create this team starting with the Joomla community? What if the global Joomla community, with its network of experts, its vast depth of experience, both in the classroom and in the real world, what if this community took the first step? What if we can form this team with you? What if you held part of the puzzle to making ideas like this a reality and changing the world of web development education forever? So I shared with you my passion and some words of inspiration. What inspires you? What kind of change in education would you like to see? Let's talk. Thank you.
So I know there are a number here who are involved with colleges and universities around the country. The hope of an Ignite talk is to get the conversation going. So this evening, please make a point of finding Tessa if you want to talk more about getting education into our colleges and universities relating to open source and content management systems. Next up, Kevin John. Get out here. Kevin John Gallagher. He flew in from across the pond. He has a split life. He lives half the time down south in London town and being civilized. And then there's the time he goes up north to Scotland and puts on the kilt. So today, I see we're in our southern attire. So
we are. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow
Excellent.
the kilt, yeah.
Well, I present to you Kevin John Gallagher.
Thank you, everyone. I wanted to talk for 5 minutes about management consultancy techniques that we can apply to personal development. The first one is know your audience and know who to ask for. When I spoke to my niece about what she wanted me to talk about Harvard, she said sparkle ponies. So that's why this talk's called Sparkle Pony. First thing to build happiness in everyone's life is me to tell everyone size doesn't matter. Soundwave was a grower, not a shower. He's 23 foot tall sometimes, and he's only 8 inches tall when he's a little boombox. This is one of my favorite ones because sometimes it gets a laugh and sometimes it doesn't. When you're having a great day and you're having a great holiday, you don't want to get out of bed. You really shouldn't go into work. But at the same token, when you're having a really crap day and you don't want to go to work, that's the best day to go and get something done. Everybody lies. Tony Robbins calls it lying with integrity. Whenever we say something that we believe is true, but we don't really know is true, such as no one uses IE6 anymore. We all kind of know it's a lie, but we're just hoping everyone believes it. If you can't afford two, you can't afford one. My dad taught me this in the building trade. And he taught me one of the best things about me as a person was always to have a cash reserve. And it's the best lesson to get rid of credit cards. Toilet roll advertising accounts for 5% of all primetime TV adverts. Hands up who needs to be reminded to buy toilet roll. Know when you're being sold shit. It's a really great lesson. If you turn around and say, I can't do that, you're 100% correct. If you give yourself an excuse, you will take that excuse. If you tell someone you will do something, you're 87% more likely to actually do it. Like this man. He jumped from space. Everyone thinks the hard part was actually taking the jump from space. He had no other way down, ladies and gentlemen. The hard part was getting on the ship that was only going one direction. Don't hide how smart you are. Talk more, be on social if you like it and like social media, blog more, and I'm just presumed that no one else got the Cosby joke. Okay, that's all right. Stop believing in 80s movies. They were bullshit. They were fun. The secret of my success was not going from the post room to like the boardroom in 3 days. It was that Michael J. Fox filmed 4 films at the same time while filming Family Ties. But if you're gonna believe 80s bullshit, just be yourself. If you want to dress up as Picard and Riker and reenact Dirty Dancing, go for it. Just make sure to send us photos. One of my favorite quotes that is massively misused is, do or do not, there is no try. George Lucas got in trouble with unions for firing swathes of people from Star Wars because they kept on saying, well, we tried that, George. And he just fired them on the spot. And what he really wanted you to do was this, Tony Robbins' quote. He really wanted to emulate his heroes. And it's a great thing. If you want to be successful, find someone out there who is successful in what you want to do and copy their belief system. You will find you will change very, very quickly into really cool stuff. And you will do that by doing this. Stop pole vaulting over the really small crap in your life and focus on the really difficult thing, the big challenge, and get it done. Low-hanging fruit is a ridiculous idea. That's what children are there for. The best thing about it is nothing you do will be here in 100 years. Definitely won't be here in 1,000 years. And everyone gets really freaked out by that. To me, that's really great. It means I can do whatever the hell I want and no one will remember. Enjoy that freedom. This is the other thing that I tell businesses all the time. Create a mission statement, a vision statement, write down your core values. And when they've done that for the business, I say, do it for yourself. I suggest you guys do it. It's an amazing thing. The other thing is, you'll never trump emotion with logic. But whenever someone gets scared of like a big spider, someone goes, well, it'll not bite. Yeah, that might be, but I don't fucking want to go near it. Create a better emotion instead. This next slide is blank because I want you all to use your imagination. I want to talk about one of my heroes, Jim Henson, who had a motto, simple is good. When Jim died, he planned his own funeral about 3 days before, where it was a really lovely big cathedral, just his closed casket. And on it sat the original Kermit the Frog Muppet puppet thing, slumped over with a little sign round his neck. And that sign read, I've lost my voice. Jim Henson said, simple is good. That little emotion in you that just went, oh. And then the first thing you thought of was a really cool Muppet thing in your head, and you were trying to go between the two. Simple emotions, change your life, do a lot better. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thanks, man.
Kevin John Gallagher. Teamopolis is here in the house. It's hard to believe that there's 2 of them. They actually are not related. They just share a heritage. But the first one up is Mike Demo Demopoulos. He comes from the Midwest. He's ready to inspire and enlighten us. And even, look at this hair color stuff. My gosh. You've changed. So bring it on, Mike. Show us what's done.
Hello, I would like to share with you a quote from J. Denny Atlas to get started. It is called, the closer you look, the less you see. I'll come to light a little bit later. I also want to remind you that using a WordPress to build sites is like trying to cut a steel pipe with a plastic spork. It won't work. 60% of WordPress sites use it as a content management system, while only 6% of WordPress sites use it only for the blog-only features of WordPress. I once had a client who came from a WordCamp. She gave me a list of 200 plugins, that she had to install. I put her on Joomla, just quite frankly, she was not going to cut herself, and it was going to be a little bit easier for her to do the surgery she needed to. It was that user-friendly. The truth is, can we work together? Can the two projects work side by side? It might be hard to see, but I wore a WordPress shirt today. Hopefully I won't be burned at the stake or shot tonight, to try to reach across that aisle. For years, I have said, and I still say today, I hate WordPress. Has anyone here heard of the Joomla bubble? Joomla bubble's all around you. It's when you only talk about the Joomla community. It's even more so this weekend. I was so busy learning Joomla, I forgot to pay my cable bill for 4 months. Do you live in the Joomla bubble? Do you turn clients away when they say they want a WordPress site? Do you not even look to see what's going on with the other projects or the other open source communities? Are you only interested about your initiatives and not what might be in your client's best interest? We all know the WordPress bias. It's not a true CMS. It's not really open source. It's only for blogs, you know, stupid logo, whatever. In a recent Joomla Twitter poll, Joomla users, the majority of them favored WordPress and Joomla together in one application versus using them separately. I know, that is Tom Cruise crazy. Now, don't listen to the web jerks. Yes, WordPress does suck and excels at other things, but sucks at some. But so does Joomla and every other extension every other project out there. You need to look across the aisles and see what's best for the whole community. Core PHP is an extension called WordPress for Joomla. It's their most popular Joomla extension. It's had 20% year-over-year growth. That's not by accident. Servers can run anything we throw at them. I would like to think my servers run better when I put Joomla on them, but sometimes I have WordPress on Joomla sites or just running natively, even on Cloud Access Joomla specifics hosting companies like Cloud Access. Sorry, Gary. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I have to come clean. This really isn't for me. I'm trying to show unity with the WordPress colors and everything, and Matt, I'm sorry. Although Joomla is my preferred provider, I mix in a little WordPress, Drupal, Typo 3. It's a big open source orgy. And don't worry, I always set my permission levels in advance. So what do? How do we stop the WordPress invasion? Truth is, we don't. We cannot stop something that's already out there. And the truth is, why should we? Why should we try to stop the WordPress invasion when it's a very popular open source project? Who here has heard of the CMS Garden? The CMS Garden is a collaborative of 12 open source systems that put together resources, talent, and try to get the enterprise community on to open source systems. When enterprise chooses open source, we all win. Which tool is best for you or your clients? The truth is, you have to play to find out. Try to go outside your comfort zone, build a WordPress site, build a concrete site. Worst case, you might find a cool feature you want to contribute to the Joomla core or submit to the Joomla idea pool. Now, look beyond the user interface and what you just quickly do when you install. Spend some time in digging into the code. We all know how good of a job Kyle Ledbetter did with our Joomla 3 admin, but don't hold that against WordPress and Drupal. You know, they're trying. Now, guys, you guys have a profound responsibility to change the world, or at least change your clients and your work's perspective. You can decide what software resources and systems your clients use. Do what's in their best interest and best interest for the whole community. Work together. Don't dismiss things just based on face value. If a client wants a WordPress site, ask them why instead of just saying, I don't do WordPress, or it's not a real CMS. We're Joomla only shop, but we still look at it from time to time. We can't afford to fight. It's going to be hard to navigate, especially for new people that are involved in the open source community. Go on the forums, have issues, debug. Yes, you will have issues with Internet Explorer, we all know it. But you're just going to do what we can to try to make the whole community better. Now, I know there's some resistant people out there that are probably planning to run to the bar during Matt Muehlenweg's talk on Sunday. I encourage you to stick around and don't. Who knows, spork surgery may be the next big thing. I'm Mike Demopoulos, and I approve this message. Thanks.
Well done, Mike. Nick is, of course, the founder and creator of Kiva Backup. He is most famously known for the phrase, read the darn manual. Although I can't quite spell it right.
Spelled with an F.
Thank you very much. And you're one of the ones who've traveled the farthest, so you had a long time getting here, and I'm sure you're all warmed up, ready to sparkle and dazzle this group.
Yep.
So, Nick,
hopefully.
Secret Agent Nick, enlighten us.
Hello, I'm Agent Backup. I'm with the Impossible Mission Force. Probably you have heard about little organization, which we consider secret, from the 60s TV series, the 80s remake, yeah, you've all watched that, and probably the 90s movies, but the 19 movies with this Joker were not a real thing. So our biggest problem is how do we secure the logins of our agents to our operational website, which is, of course, based in Joomla. One big problem we had was malware. And now this is an advice to all agents out there. If you get an email telling you that you won the Russian Federation lottery, 1,000 rubles, remember that that's about $300, and this is a scam. So when you log into a site, normally you have a single-factor authentication, which means that you only get to enter your username, which should be considered public information, and your password, only something that you know. There is another way to do that, which is two-factor authentication. So instead of something you know, you also need to provide something you have, another secret code. And the big deal with that is that it's changing over time. In Joomla 3.2, we implemented, first of all, Google Authenticator, which produces a 6-digit code that changes every 30 seconds. Good luck breaking that or guessing it. And you have to enter both username, password, and this code to log into your site. Another thing that made it just in the nick of time was support for YubiKey. YubiKey is a USB hardware token. You stick it in a USB port. You just press the button. It automatically enters a big, nice, secure code that is always unique. And how does it know that it's unique? It's because it has an internal counter that increases every time you press that button. And there is a server which keeps track of this counter. So every time you press this button, it generates a new code and the server knows it. Now, there was a small problem a couple of months ago. The funding was cut. And this completely destroyed our upgrade budget. So we were stuck with a few Joomla 2.5 sites. But we found a solution. Because the first few digits of YubiKey are essentially a username, and the rest of it is a unique password. So we made a small plugin that will be on the Joomla Extensions directory very shortly. You just press your YubiKey, and it automatically logs you in. So right now, with Joomla, you have the possibility to also create your own two-factor authentication ways. The API is there, and I'm going to document it very, very soon. But this is not the only way you can secure your passwords in Joomla. Joomla 1.5 was using salted MD5 passwords, which were as hard to crack as a hard-boiled egg. So in Joomla 3.2, there is a slightly better way, which is called bcrypt. And its strength is that it is a million times slower to crack it than MD5, which pretty much means unless you have quantum computers, you're pretty safe. We have them. Another problem with Joomla 2.5 and previous versions was the Remember Me plugin. You've all used it, right? Now, Remember Me is storing your password encrypted with a very weak encryption that it's like no encryption. So in Joomla 3.2, there was a slight improvement. It's slightly complicated to explain it in 15 seconds, so I will just say this. It uses the same bcrypt thing that you're using to store the passwords, and good luck cracking it. So this is your mission briefing, should you choose to accept it. Your mission is to go out there to your client sites, to your own sites, and either install Joomla 3.2, which is the most secure stuff the world has ever seen, or if you're using Joomla 2.5, please reconsider every password policy you have. If possible, implement YubiKey. Now, this is your mission, and this presentation will be self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Next up, John Harrington is joining us. He actually discovered the Joomla World Conference while he was at the conference for J-Day Houston. And he's brought out some equipment. I hope you're not going to use that on me. Thank you. But he's here to further inspire us and actually work on how we work together as teams. Very appropriate to some of the community groups that we're involved with. So take it away, John.
Thank you, Duke. Thank you so much for having me. I am so new to the Joomla community. As Duke pointed out, I just happened upon the first Houston Joomla Day, but I'm here to talk about improving teamwork in the Joomla community. And I was inspired by the community, the feel of the community, and one of the things I'd like to talk about is the sweet spot. Rod did a great job of talking about that, at least prepping it. It's a bit like it's open source. He knew what I was going to be talking about. But rather than going into some details about these three things, about passion, need, and ability, or ability and need, I'd like to talk about what a sweet spot is. And it's that place, it's a sports term, that place where you hit the ball on the racket where it'll go further and farther with less effort. And so living in your sweet spot is one of those things that we should try to do. And one of the things we've seen is people seem to be hardwired for success. I want to share with you a technology that we've discovered. It's something that already exists. It's an open framework where people are mobilizers, optimizers, and stabilizers. If you're a mobilizer, you're the folks that love to share an idea to get people involved. You can do all three, but you're the folks that have amazing ideas, and you're vision casters, bottom liners, and you say we can do this. And there are others of us, like me, that love to figure things out. We're optimizers. A problem's not a problem for us. We actually have fun doing things when there are problems. If you want to look for a solution, get one of us. We actually have a lot of joy in this. And the third one in this system that we've seen is a stabilizer. These are people that would love to say to me, John, just give me a list and I'll make sure it happens. These are the people that would actually like folding and stuffing and licking and stamping and those types of things. And it's an operating system that seems to be in all human beings. Now, mobilizers, when it comes to accomplishing a goal, jump over all the problems. They say, hey, let's send a letter. And it's a simple concept for them. Optimizers, on the other hand, work through all the details. It's like going through a maze of problems. And the stabilizers, well, they really need to have a dot-to-dot. They want full instructions. They want a good crayon. They want to know how this thing works. So you all have this human operating system at work inside you. It's a bit like open source, but not. It's an open framework. And how many here really love to share an idea to get other people involved? Okay, we've got about 50%. How many really love figuring things out? How many would really love to say, John, just give me a list and let me make it happen? Not many. So this group would have a real problem with consistent action over time. The coffee cup of the mobilizer is so many ideas, so little time. There's a lot of you out there. The coffee cup that the optimizer has is I have solutions to problems you don't even know you have yet. And the stabilizer is just, please just give me the list. And so working together, we have to value, and this is one of those things that we don't really do well. Why is it working with others can be so difficult sometimes? We're supposed to value and respect and accept folks, and yet when we work as teams, that seems to break down. But when there's a disaster, if a disaster struck today, do you know that there'd be no committee meeting, there'd be no planning session, no Gantt charts? We would start moving into places of effectiveness, and it's along this line of mobilizer, optimizer, and stabilizer. Another place we see this is with projects at work, or if there's a stress that occurs, whether it's a financial stress or a deadline, and personalities start showing up and we start winding up in conflict, or a new idea. Here comes another new idea. We don't need another new idea. So the practical applications that I want to share with you is about a snapshot, that there's a way of actually measuring this in people. We already did just a quick snapshot, but there's a graphic where if you understand this, you can assemble your teams much better, and it's all about developing relationships and developing teams, and accepting this fact that their core values, our core values, are very different. So within that thinking, there's a neat resource I want to share with you. It's sweetspotsystems.com. You can get a free snapshot for yourself and your team, even your significant other. And if you have a team, use these codes. So it's It's JWC13 and your team's initials. And you can get a snapshot of what you all look like and start to get a sense if there's dysfunction in your team. So for example, the bug team or the magazine, if you're having trouble getting things done, this is a way of dealing with that. So I just want to thank you for having me. And with that, I'll give it back to Duke.
Thank you, John. Well done. We'll have those codes available through the weekend. The idea of that is as everyone gets a chance to present or submit in there, the people that you work with, the team that you're working with, you all see each other's evaluations so that you can kind of see whether you've got some friction or some off-balance aspects in the team that you're working on. Rod Martin, you already know who he is. He introduced himself already once today. And have you invented the transporter yet?
Not yet. Working on it.
How about transparent aluminum?
Working on that too. Wish I had some.
Well, okay, so what are you going to invent tonight?
Hopefully not going to die by the end of this.
Okay, you didn't bring your suit of armor. You probably should for this one.
I probably should, but
we're in another one that's all about changing the way the Joomla community works. So, Rod, take it away.
All right, thanks. In the late 90s, I was responsible for probably the largest day camp of its kind, children's day camp of its kind in the province of Ontario, and probably actually in the whole country of Canada. For 2 weeks, we saw 700 children on a property of about 10 acres filled with climbing stuff and playgrounds and, you name it, we had it, play fields. 700 kids. We did this for 8 years without any major incident or problem, with over 100 staff every day. We saw thousands of smiles, heard thousands of cheers. We wiped more than a few tears, but we got the appreciation of hundreds and hundreds of parents. And did I mention, by the way, this day camp was absolutely free. It was our open source project. And we worked hard at this project. Now, it was a lot of fun over those years, but it didn't actually start out that way. We started with 65 kids. We worked hard. We tried to do better. And as the ball started rolling, we started to think about, now what's making the difference, 75 to 700? Well, we came up with basically 4 things that really made the difference for us. A feature-rich program that solved a real felt need, an insane attention to quality, and a community of amazing volunteers. Does that sound familiar? Sure does, right, eh? We have a feature-rich program that solves world needs with an insane attention to quality and an amazing community of volunteers. Now, as we kind of work this through, we realized that, wait a minute, these were all volunteers, people taking 2 weeks out of their vacation to work with us with these 700 kids. What made the difference? This has made the difference. It's time for a leadership change in philosophy. It's time for a paid management team in the Joomla project. Now, I know that's not going to be popular with some of you. I know that's a hard pill to swallow. P starts for, the word P, or the letter P, is for people. We've had a bunch of good ones. We've got a bunch of great ones. We've got a great bunch of volunteers, but we're killing them. We ask them to work hours and hours and hours while they're still working at their own job. It's not scalable, and it's going to hurt the project in the long run. P is for people. A is for accountability. Accountability means that we can hold a paid staff accountable for a set group of tasks that we assign to them that they are fully dedicated to fulfilling. There's accountability there. Not only there, but there's accountability back to the community where they help us as volunteers do better in the community. So accountability is a big step of moving this project forward. I is for investment. We need to invest in the long term for the project, and it's going to require, I think, a paid management team. Listen, we work a lot of hours as volunteers, right? Our pay is the reward that we get is the participation in the community, the progress we see, just the joy we have. But that's not enough to go from millions to billions. Now, the devil is in the details. D is for the details. I'm not going to stand here and tell you tonight that I have all the answers, because I don't. That would be silly. But the question needs to be asked, the issue needs to be raised out in the open, not behind closed doors. So that's what I'm doing tonight. The who, the how, the where, the what, the when, I have no clue. But I think we need to start talking about it. To reach billions instead of millions. It's time for a leadership change. It's time for a change in philosophy. It's time for a paid management team for the Joomla project. We need people who are dedicated to doing that on a full-time basis. We need to hold them accountable, so they can be accountable to us. We need to make the investment, and we need to figure out the details. Here in the open, this weekend, my name's Rod Martin. I'm here all weekend. Let's talk.
Well done. True to Ignite, lighting a fire in the community. Next up, Luke Summerfield, another savvy panda. He's ready to light a fire in this community and tell us some interesting things. So Luke, take it away.
All right. So about 2 weeks ago, I received an email for an open invite for the Ignite talks. I looked at the format and I said, man, this is the exact kind of talk I like to give. This is a great opportunity. And so I jumped on the chance to be able to present for it, or try to. And so I spent about an hour trying to figure out topic ideas, and with very little success, I took a step back and I said, is this really something I'm able to do? I'm already speaking at a lot of conferences in November. Like, do I really want to take one more on? And I sat back and I said, you know what, this really isn't something I'm able to do. And I said, no, I'm not going to pitch for the Joomla Ignite. Well, I didn't stop thinking about it, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you have been there. And right as I thought I didn't know what I wanted to do, the inspiration hit me, right? And as easy as it was for the weight to be taken off my shoulders, the inspiration hit me. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, is the inspiration that I had. And that's the power in saying no. And so I think we have this disposition as human beings that we always need to say yes. Right? A family member, a friend, someone that's dear to our heart to ask us for some favor. And, we have this genetic kind of like happenings where we feel obligated to say yes, right? Otherwise, we'll feel guilt. Okay, in the Joomla community, this happens all the time. Someone in a project asks you for help, right? And maybe they're a bit higher authority, maybe they're your Joomla friend, and you feel like you have to help them out. Okay, and these aren't the only scenarios. Oh no, there's a lot more, right? So if maybe an opportunity presents itself to you and you want to take advantage of it, you say, hey, there's no way I can let this opportunity go away. Or for the entrepreneurial version people, maybe it's a great idea that you think that you can spur into this great, successful business. Whatever the scenario is, in the back of our minds, we know that we are just too busy for it. And so we think we can shift our schedules. We think we can cut hours. We can change hours, okay, to make this new project work. And at first when it starts out, maybe it is possible. Maybe it is something that we can do, and we can manage our time and tasks. But the reality is, as time goes on, we become overwhelmed, and it isn't something that we can do. And inevitably, something has to give, right? And so, working on one project, we have the other project burning in the back of our heads. Right? There's only so many blocks you can pull. There's only so many blocks you can put on top of the board before the whole Jenga tower falls. Okay, and this results in stress. Okay, we end up doing nothing but treading water. We feel so busy, but we feel like we're not getting anywhere. We're distracted, right? We're distracted and we forgot what we wanted to achieve in the first place. Okay, and this is not fair. This is not fair. The second that we cave into someone and we're taking additional weight, every time that we agree to do a task, that we agree to do a project, we're putting additional weight on ourselves. And guess what? Guess where that weight comes from? Our personal lives. And so we shift our hours around and we take time away from our friends and take time away from our hobbies. And worse, we take time away from our family, right? And these things are put in the back seat. And eventually they start evaporating into the air. right? And the worst part of all, this isn't just hurting ourselves, these are hurting the people, other people, right? We commit to someone, when we commit to a project, there's an exchange that happens, an exchange of trust. That person has faith in you that you'll be able to come through and complete that project. But at the point where the project stalls out, you're letting that person down. The reality is we need to make a conscious effort to exercise more discipline and have more clarity in our lives. We need to strengthen our dedication and focus to our goals. At the point where it speaks to our core values and speaks to our core beliefs, and it aligns itself with our current path, and is contained in the scope of our current project and our current goals, at that point, the answer is crystal clear, right? The answer should point to yes. And you can stay rest assured that it's not going to lead you off of that path of success. Each and every day, we are pulled in all kinds of different directions, right? Our life is hard enough without us overextending ourselves above and beyond what we can handle. The true leaders, the true people that are shaping their lives, they understand the power of saying no. They understand the importance of staying focused on their original goal. So I urge you to take a look at your projects that you have on your plate and in your mind. And if the projects are bringing you closer to what you're trying to achieve in life, if they aren't, if they're not bringing you closer, then there's only one thing you need to say. Thank you.
All right. Well done, Luke. And now we're down to our last speaker of the evening. Saurabh Shah comes from India. He's with Cloud Access, and he's ready to tell us about the world that he's lived in, building the Joomla community off in that part of the world. So Saurabh, take it away.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Saurabh, and I admit that I'm a Joomlaholic, and I'm connected with the Joomla communities, like I'm helping with the events team, social media team, or Joomla user group team as well, and I'm one of the organizers of Joomla India. Well, I'm feeling lucky that I have got to, travel all around the world, places like in India, Spain, Malaysia, Netherlands, Germany, and now in USA. And this all happened just because of Joomla. So, of course, I haven't born, with the having mind with the Joomla, but I've started working Joomla since I've got to 2008, and since then, I've become Joomlaholic. And thank you for JWC for the scholarship, which is having me here right now. So, going to the different events, this community has enriched my life so much. There are so many different types of people I got to meet, I got to share, interact with them, learn from them, and share their cultures. And I'm feeling lucky, And this gives me worldwide experience. And I found that there are some wonderful traditions we follow in all around the world that we listen to, excellent presentations, or we do bug squashing. We do funny, we get funny outfits like a J. Crusader or Elvis, or we have our own, Joomla haircuts as well, and Joomla shoes. And we all have all fun together. This is not yet done, of course. So we also play games together, and then we drink beer. We play music together, and we drink more beer. We sing again, and we keep going drinking beer. We dance, and we drink beer. And the next thing is we get all the whole crowd to make sure, we never end this night. And then the next day, you fall asleep all around the places, and we get all those people, heavy thinkers, heavier on the on the wall. It's funny, so it's good. But on a serious note, of course, except for the center one, yeah. On a serious note, we are a team of leaders. We are a team of designers. We are a team of thinkers. We are innovators. We are problem solvers. We are a team of all volunteers, and together we have created world's best content management system, which is empowering 30 million websites all around the world. And we should be having a proud of this accomplishment, and we should celebrate these traditions which we follow. And as a community, we communicate and collaborate to make visions become reality, and this is what we have done so far. And we need to keep pushing forward and keep making these things better and better, and make the strong in numbers. So as a call, looking forward and call to action, my call to action is keep forward and keep meeting lots of people, learn as many things as you can, and take advantage of this great opportunity and together and share and keep pushing this community better way. Well, I'm here at Joomla World Conference, but there's a Diwali festival in my town and in city and in India, and which I'm missing with my family right now. A little bit about Diwali. Diwali is the celebration of the cycle of life and finding inner peace of mind. Well, I'm missing it right now, but I'm happy to be here, with my all family, Joomla family here. Well, Diwali is also known as the festival of lights because we light small lamps to celebrate the victory of good over evil. We also we light the firecrackers to drive away all evil spirits. And during Diwali, we as a family, we get together, we perform all traditional activities at our homes. We wear new clothes, we share gifts, we go to their home and have lots more sweets and stuff. But yeah, if you see Joomla family and Diwali, we both have common traditions we follow all the time. And I'm happy to be here, connecting with all of you here and not missing my family. So yeah, so both Joomla and Diwali have all these traditions we keep forwarding. And I encourage you, keep forwarding these traditions over and over the years. Well, I cannot celebrate with you like with the firecrackers, but I would like to celebrate you right now, Joomla celebration and Diwali here right now, along with this glow sticks. So I would like to get raised in this Joomla celebration and celebrate, And thank you very much for celebrating Diwali. So happy Diwali, and I keep encouraging you to please move forward with the community and make this awesome community better and better all the time. Thank you.
Well done. Has to be one of the most dramatic endings of an Ignite talk that I've seen so far. So very well done. Thank you, Saurabh. So go ahead, please vote now. Get your votes in. We have some prizes to give out. Among those, the man who's over in the corner behind the screen, who's working away, being the magician with the form, is Mike Demopoulos. Mike was very instrumental in creating that form for us, as well as the balloting system. We have a couple of prizes for his great work. Nick, don't look, because Mike really does want to wear the sign of the beast, and he's got his permission set to 777. So he's really going to have a good time tonight. So, and with that, he gets one of these funky little bottles to help him survive the night. To celebrate the party tonight, we've got a little bit of High West Rendezvous Rye, which is made in the town that I come from, the only legal distillery in Utah. Our winner tonight, Kevin John. Where is he? Hiding in the back, making the dramatic entrance. Thank you all for being part of the first Joomla Ignite. Let's go party! You bet.